Hello, hello, hello. I am EJ Bantz. Welcome to another Salesforce Saturday remote, I guess. I still don't like doing remote Salesforce Saturdays and looking forward to our next in-person one. I guess this is the next best thing that I can do. I'm kind of hoping that we'll have an in-person one in July. I'd kind of like to try a coffee shop in somewhere in closer to Waukesha, maybe even in Mugwanago. I think there's a couple of there. And then the month after that, in August, we should have the new DewWow Dev Center open. And thinking maybe we could try having some type of event there, but I'm not sure how well it'll work. But for today, I had a request come in from Robert Dawson again, that is asking about how to set up an auto launch flow, which has user input, prompts to get triggered, which uses both knowledge and something else that's cut off. When I asked a little bit more about it, it sounded like wanted to be able to like maybe query for some type of product that maybe they had purchased to get help on it. I might be completely misunderstanding what we want to do, but what I'm thinking is leveraging a data library with knowledge articles to answer questions, but then helping guide the user to the right product based on a past order. So maybe we'll create a flow that lets them query their order and then does some sort of lookup against knowledge articles. The thing is that, being able to answer questions based on knowledge articles is kind of a built-in thing. And we don't really have to do a lot to make that happen, but I can try to walk through doing it. I've only used the data library with things like PDF and text files. And I've only read about setting it up with knowledge articles. But how hard could it be? I'm also experimenting with the background music here to make it a little bit more exciting for me. I usually listen to music when I do work, and just sitting here in a quiet office talking out loud feels awkward to me. So we'll see how this works. If you have any questions or things that you want me to look at, feel free to post in the chat. I've got it open and we'll be monitoring it. Let's get over to my org. So this is just the developer org that I've been playing with for weeks and weeks and weeks now. It's starting to get very messy. At some point, I'll probably have to start over with it. But I thought I would go through and just start creating a new service agent, because part of that process is to walk you through setting up the data library. So we will create a new agent. We will pick the service agent. And we'll do next. By the way, I've only got about an hour to do this, and I've got some other work to get to. So these are all the things that you get out of the box. They added order inquiries. And probably the FAQ is the one that's going to use knowledge articles. Yeah. Okay, so we'll continue. This one, I'm going to rename the agent so that it's obvious to me. DewWow Agentforce Service Agent. I need the word Agentforce in it, but I'll say with knowledge articles. Okay, and our company is DewWow. DewWow. We are a, what are we? We are a Salesforce partner. We're a Salesforce partner, and we help mostly other partners do Salesforce work, but we do direct work with clients too. We have managed services. I should probably do my quick little pitch here. DewWow pricing. We are in the process of building our dev center. So now we are the thing that sets us apart is that we are a team of people all co-located in one building. We work very hard to, I have to specify www. We're all in one building now. So we focus on getting work done fast and not outsourced. So if you are a company that is struggling to bring your team back together in one building because you realize that things get done a little bit faster that way, you could choose to outsource some of your projects to us and still get that experience of things getting done a little bit faster. We have limited capacity right now. We can take on, I think, just one more client doing either a managed services type of situation or a fractional team type of situation. So the way it works is our team works on multiple projects. We have already dedicated ourselves to a few, and we have room for just one more. But that will be expanding probably in October. So enough about DewWow. We will continue with this. Instead of creating a new user, because I just don't want a bunch of users in this org, we're going to go with my existing one, and I'm going to mark this box to make it easier for me to debug what is going on. So here's the data library. This is where the magic is. So I'm going to set up a new one. And it is of type knowledge. And I'm going to base it on the title, and should be a question. Yeah, the question. And the content is going to be in the answer. This is just how I have knowledge set up. I don't think answer is a default one. I think usually it's just like the summary. But in my org, I have question and answer set up. And I can show you that real quick. In the knowledge, I set up an article. To say, hey, my printer won't turn on. Why are the lights not turning on? If the printer will not turn on, make sure it's plugged in and power switch is turned on. So that is my article. It's been published. It is, should publish it to the public. Make that available to public. Publish it now. Okay. So knowledge is already set up. I already have a sample order set up too. We're creating the agent, setting up the library. It's kind of my plan. It's going to be based on the answer, so I'll create it. Now this takes time. Like you can't create this data library and then just start using it right away. It has to go through and I think they call it indexing the data library, where it goes through each one of the records and it creates the tokenized values for every word in there and creates all these chunks of data. So if you have like a really big article, it'll break it up into several chunks. And then when you search for things, you can use like natural language searching, and then it'll return a set of chunks. You take all that stuff and you put that into a prompt. And the prompt basically says like, hey, based on this question and this data, what kind of response do you think we should give the user? So that is how, great, an error. That's how the LLM knows how to answer the question. It's because you're giving it the content in the prompt. I have no idea what that error was though. So let's see what actions it has. So it has this answer questions with knowledge, and it passes in like the ID of the indexer somewhere in here. The retriever. The retriever is basically how it knows which data library to access. So I want to look at the status of it building the indexes and how to get there. I think it's like an Einstein Studio. There's these retrievers. Oh no, yeah. So the indexer is it's a search index. Maybe that's what the error was. Because I was expecting it to have like a new one. But I think it's interesting that this was refreshed an hour ago. So I'm a little concerned that I don't see a new index here. I'll tell it to rebuild this. I mean, this is knowledge articles, so yeah, so I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. So if I look back at the studio, these are all yesterday. I wonder if it didn't like it because I already had one, and maybe you can't have more than one. So, I don't know. Let's see. Why won't my printer turn on? I just want to see what topic and activity it chooses when I ask it a question like this. So it is trying to use that right topic, but it can't access the data library. So I think that's because that error that we got. So if, let's look and see what library. So it's like not selected. Maybe I just never selected it. We pick that one. Try to save it. I'm surprised it lets you do that when it's active. Okay. Printer turn on. An error occurred. Let's try restarting it. Why won't my printer turn on? So this is, I'm not familiar with this config ID, but the reg is the indexing logic. So let's look to see how this topic is created. It's my understanding that it gets its input from whatever data library that you have set up here. And I wonder if I pick a different one, if I can get it to work. Like, I think maybe that library is messed up. I think that is the one that was the existing one. Maybe I should have stuck with that. Let's try it again. Just an unexpected error. Interesting. Well, I can switch to not using knowledge library and just confirm that I can get a regular data library to work using files. So let me try that. So I'll create a new one. I'm not sure how many you can create. It might be something like 10 of them. Say with files. And then you give it files to upload. So what I'll do is create a new file. Say 3D printer P001 question why printer lights will not turn on. Answer. Make sure it is plugged in, turned on. So if I take that file and drop it in, the indexing of this stuff though is not very quick. It usually takes like at least a good 15 minutes. So maybe while that other one is still in progress, maybe it's just not usable and we just really have to wait for it to finish. But I thought you just don't get data back, but maybe that is what we're saying. We're just not getting any data back. Maybe it's interpreting it as an error. But I don't know, seeing like the red, hey, something went wrong, I think is a lot different than we couldn't find any content. Usually the response is we couldn't find an answer. I think there's ways to test the query language too, but I don't remember how to do it. If we look at the prompt builder for it, I think that is how you do it. So in the prompt builder, there's the standard answer questions with knowledge. So this is how it's actually doing it. So it has this basic instructions that you could customize. And then this dynamic retriever is basically the response from the query that it does against the data library. And then this is your question. So you can, oh wow, this interface is different now with summer release. All this stuff used to be on the right. And these two things are new. Oh, this is different. So I want to test it. Usually there's like a test. So printer work. Now in this context, it doesn't know which retriever, so we have to tell it. And like we could grab the ID for this retriever, which I think is this value. Yeah, see, this is the type of response I would expect. Hey, I can't find an answer. So we can see this is the prompt that runs. These are just those hard-coded instructions. This is the data that we got back from the query against the data library. So it did return data. And this is from the knowledge article. It's just that it wasn't really a match. So I bet if it doesn't print or work. So maybe if I was more specific and say like, why won't my printer lights turn on? Please refer to the troubleshooting guide for the 3D printer E001 not turning on. It contains steps and then gives you a link to that. So yeah, so this response isn't doesn't include the answer. So it doesn't know how to tell the person what the answer is. So that is basically this retriever does this query, and the data coming back in that query doesn't contain the answer. All right, doesn't contain the answer. So I don't know how to modify this, because the retrievers are just kind of always just built for you when you set up the data library. So I have to look at the data library. Data. Oh, this is probably the existing one then. So the DewWow. it's not started. That's probably why it wasn't working. So this has answer selected. So I think we just need to tell it to index. Definitely need to turn that on. Best practice would be to set up categories. I don't have set category set up though, but you definitely want to do that. Recreate the data library. I bet my agent doesn't have access to those custom fields. Now that I think about it. So my agent is Angie. And customer support agent permissions, we probably want to add to. Is it a custom prompt template for knowledge? You can increase the number of records retrieved, right? Those are the chunks. So yes, it is. In this case, there's only one chunk, so that's not the limitation. In my knowledge list of articles, I have one article. Where's the field on knowledge? I don't think this is it. Oh, this is it. Yeah, see, they don't have access. This might be a problem. But I'm not sure. The thing is that they're not accessing the article directly. They're accessing the indexer. So I don't think that is the issue. I think I need to take a closer look at which retriever this is. And I think I just need to use the other retriever. And it was which one is it? I think it's this one. Knowledge is filtered, right? Those filter fields need access. I can say when it does the query, you're not querying against knowledge. You're querying against the index that was built. And basically this is the query. So it has things like the article number, but it doesn't have that question and answer. I suppose I could work around this by not using question and answer, but I'd really like to use question and answer. Yeah, so it all gets into how this indexer is built. And I still think that is done through the configuration of the library. and I just need to edit the correct library. And so it's probably one of these other existing ones. So there's two knowledge ones, so it's probably this one. And I need to turn that on. And the field settings does have answers. Does the agent got data cloud user permissions? Probably. Let's check. It's Angie. I think that's part of the customer support agent permissions. No, they don't. I don't think that's the issue, though. I mean, so what I'm trying to solve is that when the knowledge gets populated here, this needs to contain the question and answer. And if it doesn't, then it's not going to get far. And the context of which I'm doing this query has nothing to do with the specific agent. This is basically just using me at this point. Yeah, probably the agent does, but let's not worry about that right now. I totally agree with you, but not worried about it right now. So right now, I just want to focus on getting the knowledge grounded correctly. Okay, so maybe what I'm missing is this configuration inside of the prompt. So if I get back to the prompt and select the indexer, what's it loading? So when you configure the indexer, I mean, it should be asking me the number of chunks that I want to return. So usually you click on it and it lets you configure it. I'm also a bit thrown off because usually there's like this whole thing at the top to insert the indexer and different inputs, and I probably can't do it because it's the out of the box. Maybe it's because I'm using the out of the box one. I wonder if I just create a new one. Is the index ready? No, I don't think the index is ready yet. DewWow custom knowledge. Yeah, so where's the whole thing where you can like, there used to be a thing at the top and you would be able to select the different inputs. Well, I agree. If it's not ready, it's not going to work. I can say that it did return some data. So there's that. The thing that I want though is for it to return the custom fields that are on it, that are the question and the answer. Right now it's returning just the title and I think the summary. So this editor is like completely different now in Summer 25. Oh, I see, insert resource. So they made a button now. And then here you can select the indexer, Einstein search. So it's weird because the custom, it really seems like the data library that I initially tried to create is just completely broken. So I'm stuck with working with the one that was already created, which I think is this one. Save this. Try to test it. Tell me about P01. Give it the indexer, which I have to go back. I shouldn't have closed that tab. I'm sorry, I said indexer, but it's the retriever, and that's in the studio. Retriever. So is it this one? The naming of this is just terrible. I think it's this one. Good. So we're getting data, but it's still just the article number and the URL. And I want it to return all the fields. So how do I get it to return all the fields? Here we go. Here we go. Oh, okay. And I don't really care about the URL, but I think that's good. This is a messy interface. New fields cannot be added for pre-filtering. Fine. Okay. So do I have to rebuild it? I don't know. Let's try to run it again. I still don't have it in the output, so I better have to run it. Retriever. It's in the search index. Then rebuild it. Okay. Question and answers. In progress. In progress. I'm still not all confident that this is going to do it because this is the source. And I'm still a bit confused on how it knows which fields to return. Reaver to return. Because I thought that was configured when you like have it selected here and you're telling it like number of chunks to return. But I don't see it. All we have are the inputs. And I thought there was like another section under here that had what fields and like number of chunks. Maybe it was just the chunks. You tell it to return a chunk and the content is part of the chunk. So maybe it'll be fine. In progress. So I think because it's part of the chunk now, it'll return it. Yeah, it'll probably work. In progress. How long does it take to chunk one article? Jeez. That's crazy. Well, I can move on to selecting the order too, and see if it can actually do that. So in my agent, well, in my data, I'll show you the data. I set up one test order, and in the order, it has a 3D printer product of P001. So I'm wondering if it can query the status of this, or if I have to give it like a flow or something to access it. So this is the DewWow. Show me product order. Does it want to know my email address? Ooh, verify customer, send a verification code. That's cool. How does it do that? Customer service verification. So maybe I don't have emails turned on. Let's see. I do have it turned on. But why can't it send it? I've never tried to use this. So verify customer, send email verification code. What is this? Does it exist? Can I debug it? User not found. Generate the code. Looks kind of neat. Generated a code. Send the email. Did I get an email? Let's see. I did get an email. This is what the email looked like. Pretty cool. And then emails it, right? And then set the code. And then it ends. So what's the problem? Just unexpected error. That's not very helpful. Okay. Let's see if my indexer's done. Yeah, now it's in here. The field is kind of weird. But look at that. Now I've got an answer. If the lights on the printer are not turning on, ensure the printer's plugged in. Yeah, it's working. Yeah. Okay, so let's start a new thing here. So my knowledge, I don't remember it's using the right one, but let's say my P001 printer will, lights don't work. Why? Oh, come on. Yeah, I think I've set it up to use the wrong indexer. So yeah, it's using this. So we gotta switch this back to using this one. Save it. Start it. Sense. Oh, because I'm not using the, so I built this. Yeah, so we have to go back to the original, make sure that the original one works in the prompt builder. So we're using the standard one, and we should just see if this one is now working. And then the retriever. Too many tabs. Too many tabs. Okay. Yeah, so now this is giving the right answer because it's getting all the fields, got the answer in here. Okay, so then why it don't work? Should work. Try that again. My P00 one printer is not turning on. Why? Error. I don't know, it's like this topic. Well, I suppose now this could be the data library issue with the permissions. So now let's look at how that user is set up. That's an interesting answer. But I want to know how it got there. Because it doesn't seem to be doing it based on, yeah, the knowledge stuff. That is interesting. My 3D printer lights turn on. Yeah, so that is still not right. So it's using this data library. I almost want to just create a different action, tell it explicitly to use that. Oh, but this is the standard one that I can't customize. Oops, what did I hit? Yeah, you have to clone this one in order to add stuff to it. Is there a clone? I thought there was a clone. New version, I think. And now I can mess with it. Oh, I never finished. I'm just going to create my own prompt. I'm going to start with the default one. I thought I started creating one. Was that in a different window? I don't know. This one. So I'm skipping the dynamic one and I'm just using the one that I think is working. And now I'll try that. Why doesn't my printer work? Retriever. I think you can use this name. Copy it. Oh, it needs the ID. Oh, let's try it without. Yeah, it works. So, like, if I give it a stupid question, I don't think it'll return any knowledge articles. Like, why is the sky blue? Well, that's not impressive. It just returns anything. But at least the LLM didn't give me an answer. So I'll activate this, and now I'll tell our action to use this prompt template. You answer questions about products. Products. Okay, so it knows the indexer, knows the question. We will show the response. And then we'll get rid of the other one. Activate it. Why are my printer lights not turning on? Well, at least no error. The query is just this. And if I put that query in the prompt builder, does work. So why would that be? Hmm. Did I not restart it? I restarted it. Unable to find the answer. Hmm. Maybe. Oh, it's probably not getting the right retriever name. Because I didn't put a good instruction there. So we modify the action assets. Hmm. No, I mean, it does pass it in, right? Hmm. So it works as me, but not as the agent. So well, I guess normally I don't use the name. I can't imagine why that would matter. We'll instead use the ID because I'm out of ideas. Feel like I'm just missing something very obvious here. So I have an action that calls a prompt. And in the prompt, I'm passing the query. Am I calling the wrong prompt? Prompt works. Get the data. Gives me the answer. Hey, Mitch. Mitch, I'm stuck. What am I doing wrong? So I have a prompt that works. It's grounded with data from knowledge, and it's giving me a good answer. I give it the question with the retriever. But now when I call that through Agentforce, here's my action that's calling the prompt. I put in that question. Why does my printer not work? It calls the prompt, but it gets back sorry, I can't find the answer. So am I missing some permission? What user am I using? I'm using Angie Smith. And Angie Smith does have access to use the data cloud. Well, it has access to the data space. But maybe there's some other permission. Angie Smith does not have knowledge, but I mean, the thing is that, I mean, it doesn't directly look at knowledge articles, right? It uses, it's actually using the retriever from the data cloud. Yeah, it's hitting data cloud. So it doesn't hit knowledge directly. So as long as she has access to the data cloud stuff, then it should be fine. But I wonder if there's like another data cloud permission. God. You have to give it data cloud user. Let's try that. Too many windows open. Why doesn't my printer? Damn. Cannot find an answer based on the articles. So this is the prompt, and just for kicks, I'm going to give it a different response. I'm going to have it say, hey, EJ, this isn't working. Oh, why can't I edit it? Oh, it's in the prompt. Hey, EJ, still it's not working. Just for sanity check to make sure I'm really calling the prompt I think I'm hitting. Yeah, so I am hitting the right prompt. And I'm passing in the input query and the input retriever ID or name. So I'm passing in the ID. And this is the same. Well, put the name in before, but if I change this to that and then take that same question. Oh, no. Question. Yeah, so and it works. So it gives you the knowledge stuff. So my only guess is that running under the context of that other user, retriever isn't working. Do they need special permission to use a retriever? I'm not aware of that, but maybe. It has this service agent user permission group, which I thought gave it like data cloud stuff. Now I'm curious which ones it gives you. Yeah, see, it already had data cloud and it has the prompt template user. So I'm confused. So why would the prompt not work as a service agent, but works fine outside of it? Hmm. So this is the retriever. Model. Hmm. can access the default space, which is the only one there. The data cloud prompt templates is like the magic of how a lot of this stuff works. To be able to give Agentforce access to your data. I suppose there's other ways to do it too. I mean, you don't have to use the indexer. You could I think you can run a flow and then have the output of the flow add content to the prompt. So, I mean, it's kind of neat because really the prompt doesn't really know anything about your data. So, so the limitation is like I've had people ask me like, could I just like tell it to give me like a summary of all the millions of accounts in my org? And no, you can't, because you would have to like list all the millions of accounts in this knowledge and you'd run out of space. So the prompt doesn't dig through the data. It's the thing that the prompt runs that has to include the data. So in this case, it's doing an Einstein search, but it could have been a flow. So we did Einstein search, and then you tell it to use this knowledge article retriever thing. Oh. Yeah. But yeah, you could do it either way. I've never actually done the flow way. Oh, there's none available. I don't even know what interface you have to expose on a flow in order to make it work. Apex code to make it work. But that's probably the next thing that I want to try. So for example, you could like go fetch all of the orders related to an account and then list those in the prompt and then tell the prompt to give you a summary of this data. I wonder if instead of explicitly using this is using the default. So use this one instead. I think this uses what's ever configured in the agent. But I don't think it's going to matter. These are the output fields that I was thinking of before, where you can configure it. And then in here, you tell it to use the input. Put query. Type it. See if this matters at all. All right, see you, Mitch. Now I broke it. Wow. Now it's working. So I used the different retriever. I had the retriever wrong. Ugh. So why doesn't my car work? So it doesn't know anything about that. So now tying it to the order. I don't know why that authentication didn't work. Which printer did I buy? So out of the box, it wants to do this customer verification stuff, and I don't know anything about it. It's probably something like the agent that this runs under doesn't have permission to send an email. And I don't know what permission that needs. Although I don't think that's true. Because I've used agents to send emails before. So I need to look up more about this customer service verification. So you got to do this. On the topics, map it to a variable, new custom variable. One. Send email verification. deactivate. So you get back verification code. On the customer type output, map it to customer type output. Customer type. So it's already mapped. Need to close all these other tabs. I think you have to allow it to use that. Leave the allow to disabled. Okay. The same for customer ID authentication keys. Don't store the output of the customer ID in the verified. Instead, create a custom variable. Assign new variables to the corresponding inputs. I bet the agent doesn't have permission to look at these things. And I could cheat by giving the flow more permissions to run under system context. And I'm probably going to do that. Can't just change it because it's part of a standard one. Tell you what permissions? doesn't. So it needs to be able to get users and get contact. It could probably already do this, but let's see what Angie can do. Can't it? So there's just no contacts not in the list. So yeah, I think that's why. So let's give her access. See the email. But I did get one before, so maybe because customer type is null. No. Code status. Yeah, so it's not getting through it. I guess it probably needs to see all the contacts. So it needs like view all. Um, So it needs to be able to read the account. Okay. Hmm. Well, the agent doesn't seem to have access to view the data. But it is public read write. So how is that possible? Can I log in as Angie and see? No. See, can't log in as. I guess not any user. Hmm. Did do that. Count, read. Contact, read. Are they considered external users? I don't think so. I don't know. I give up. Mostly because I'm out of time and need to work on something else. So, huge failure. What can I say? Normally, well, I mean, this is the first time I've ever seen this send email with verification code thing. Normally, when I want to give access to agents, I create a flow and then let it access the data through the flow. So when you run this as an employee agent, you're running under the permissions of the logged in user, but when you're running as a service agent, you're running as the special service agent user, and that thing has limited access to stuff. So I typically create a flow that runs as system that has access to the data. So that's why I was trying to edit the system permissions on this one, but then it wouldn't run as the same version of the flow, and then I'd have to recreate the action, and I just don't feel like doing all that. So I don't know. I'll revisit this next week, I think, but for now I got to get out of here. Thanks for watching. Sorry it didn't work.